He's done that the entire race, from the drop of the green flag, spin in the back.
Multi-car incident. Cars going everywhere. Van Gisbergen, Keselowski, Haley skipped through there. Bush involved.
Shane Van Gisbergen's day at New Hampshire started like a dream, but ended in smoke and heartbreak. He showed speed, control, and even scored stage points, his best oval run yet. But one crash flipped everything upside down. The wreck left his car in pieces and his race ruined, raising one big question. What does this mean for NASCAR's bold rookie? But instead of celebrating a career-best finish, his weekend ended in smoke, wreckage, and bitter disappointment. His promising NASCAR Cup Series run was derailed by a major crash, marking one of the toughest moments of his transition from supercars to American stock car racing. SVG started the day strong in the number 88 Chevrolet Camaro for Trackhouse Racing, lining up 10th, his best oval qualifying effort in a points-paying NASCAR Cup Series event. The New Zealander moved quickly through the pack, climbing as high as 6th during the early stages. He demonstrated smooth car control, clean overtakes, and great tire management, a rare feat for someone still new to ovals. Even more impressive, Van Gisbergen scored his first stage points on an oval by finishing 7th in Stage 1. This was a major milestone for the Kiwi, who's been steadily adapting to the aggressive, contact-heavy nature of NASCAR's oval circuits. Up to that point, his run had been clean, calculated, and full of promise. But as is often the case in NASCAR, chaos struck. The race turned sour on lap 118 during a restart. As the tightly packed field charged into Turn 2, Brad Keselowski attempted an inside move but scraped the wall and made contact with Van Gisbergen's car. The hit sent SVG into a slide, spinning twice directly in front of traffic. Kyle Busch, with nowhere to go, slammed into him. Daniel Suarez, SVG's teammate, and Justin Haley were also collected in the wreck. It was a chain reaction that left several cars damaged and several races ruined. Van Gisbergen's car suffered severe front suspension damage. His crew, refusing to give up, made rapid repairs and got the car back on track. But by then, he was over 50 laps down and far from contending. He finished 32nd. The outcome was a heartbreaking blow for both SVG and Trackhouse Racing, who had shown such strong pace earlier in the event. SVG spoke to reporters post-race, clearly disappointed. It was frustrating because the car was really strong, and we were running well. I felt good on the long runs, and it could have been a solid result for us. Earlier in the race, SVG had a minor incident with Josh Berry on lap 82, tapping the number, 21 car, and spinning him out. That moment added to the tension around SVG's aggressive style, but didn't detract from his overall speed and potential. Keselowski's failed inside move wasn't deliberate, but was risky. His slight misjudgment triggered a high-speed mess that affected not just Van Gisbergen, but other key drivers. Kyle Busch, who was gaining momentum in the race, had his day ruined. Daniel Suarez, looking for a solid finish to gain playoff points, was taken out through no fault of his own. SVG's crash is another chapter in what has been a whirlwind rookie season for him in NASCAR. He stunned the motorsports world by winning on his Cup Series debut at the Chicago Street Race in 2023. Since then, his full-time NASCAR journey has been under a microscope. Each race has brought new learning curves, and despite the crash, his speed at New Hampshire showed how quickly he's improving.
Yeah, I'm happy but frustrated, proud, privileged to be here, but also pissed at myself. The last few weeks I just haven't been good enough. I've been really doing well, getting better at ovals, and I just haven't performed the last couple of weeks.
Trackhouse Racing, the team SVG races for, has been instrumental in helping international talent like SVG find footing in American stock car racing. Team owner Justin Marks has emphasized long-term development and is known for taking risks on unique talents. SVG's inclusion in the team is a testament to that vision. Meanwhile, the race itself concluded with Ryan Blaney securing a hard-fought victory. Blaney held off a late charge from Josh Berry to lock in his spot in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs round of 8. It was Blaney's first win in several weeks, and it came at a critical time. He praised Berry post-race. Probably the hardest 20 laps I've driven. He got super free. I appreciate him racing clean and not putting the bumper to me. Blaney's victory shifted attention away from the wreckage behind him, but not for long. Fans and analysts immediately zeroed in on the lap 118 crash that changed the outcome for several contenders. Discussion swirled online, with many pointing out how difficult it is for new drivers, especially international ones like SVG, to survive the unpredictability of NASCAR restarts. This kind of wreck is part of the learning curve. NASCAR's ovals are intense, especially tracks like New Hampshire that feature flat turns and tight racing. Drivers are inches apart at high speeds, and one small miscalculation can take out half the field. Brad Keselowski admitted post-race that the wreck was unfortunate, but didn't go into much detail. Suarez expressed his frustration too, noting how painful it is to be caught up in someone else's mistake. SVG's return to the race, even after being multiple laps down, speaks volumes about his attitude. His crew's efforts ensured he crossed the finish line, which still matters in the context of learning and data collection. Every lap completed helps SVG improve for the next outing. Looking ahead, SVG and Trackhouse Racing will shift focus to the upcoming event at Kansas Speedway. Scheduled for Monday, September 29th at 8 a.m., NZST, it presents another chance for redemption. Kansas is a 1.5-mile oval, faster than New Hampshire but still technical. It will be a new test for SVG's skills, and all eyes will be on how he bounces back. The NASCAR Cup Series is nearing the business end of the season. Every point matters, every finish counts, and for drivers like SVG still trying to make their mark, every race is an audition for 2026 and beyond. Trackhouse remains committed to his development, and this crash, while disappointing, doesn't change that. Fans in New Zealand and around the world are rallying behind SVG. Social media was flooded with support and praise for his pace before the wreck. Many noted how strong he looked in the first third of the race and how well he handled the initial incidents. This crash, while unfortunate, has not shaken SVG's growing presence in NASCAR. It's a learning experience, painful but necessary. As for Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez, and the other drivers caught up in the Turn 2 mess, they'll also be looking to rebound. The Cup Series doesn't wait. There's always another race, another chance, another story. But for SVG, New Hampshire will be remembered as a day when everything was aligning, until it wasn't. The next steps for SVG will be crucial. He'll debrief with engineers, go over the race footage, and reset his mindset. Kansas is a new chance, a chance to prove that New Hampshire was a stumble, not a trend. Even after finishing 32nd, SVG's progress is undeniable. The speed is there. The adaptability is real. Now it's about putting all the pieces together. Shane Van Gisbergen's NASCAR story is still being written, and this crash is just another chapter in what's becoming a fascinating journey. Whether it's on road courses, street circuits, or now ovals, SVG has shown that he belongs. New Hampshire was rough, but Kansas is coming, and with SVG's grit, there's no doubt he'll be ready.
It was a great day for Toyota, 1 through 4, and obviously a bunch in the top 10. So
Denny Hamlin just revealed the real reason his championship hopes are falling apart, and it's not what anyone expected. The three-time Daytona 500 winner is dealing with serious mechanical problems that have cost him multiple races this season, and he's finally speaking out about what's really going wrong. Let's start with what should have been Hamlin's moment of glory at Darlington. The guy absolutely nailed qualifying, posting a blistering 171.381 miles per hour's lap that earned him the pole position. But here's the kicker. By doing that, he actually prevented his own teammate, Chase Briscoe, from making NASCAR history.
Yeah, down here with Denny Hamlin. He's making some laps with Chase Briscoe. Chase said that you ripped turns 3 and 4. How'd that car feel?
it turned. We struggled with the balance really all during race practice, and so we made some good adjustments there to go one lap, and felt like it was really good. The Sport Clips Toyota did everything I needed it to do, and yeah, it's awesome to come here and get a pole.
You've won here before a few times. Do you feel like this car has what it takes on the long run to get it done again?
We're going to have to work on it. We definitely have some work to do, no doubt about it. But starting up front is certainly a big advantage. We'll go back, reset tonight, do a bunch of work, and we'll be stronger tomorrow.
Denny Hamlin feeling good about his number 11 Toyota.
Briscoe was trying to become the first driver ever to win poles at all 4 Crown Jewel races in a single season. He already had the Daytona 500, Coca-Cola 600, and Brickyard 400 locked up. All he needed was Darlington, and Hamlin said, not today. But winning the pole was about the only thing that went right for Hamlin that weekend. During the race, what he calls gremlins started showing up in his car. And when Hamlin talks about gremlins, he's not talking about something small. These were serious clutch problems that had never happened before in his career. On his podcast, Hamlin explained exactly what was going wrong. He said his car was popping out of gear multiple times during corners, which sounds absolutely terrifying when you're going 180 miles per hour around one of NASCAR's trickiest tracks. What makes this even more frustrating for Hamlin is that he's never had these kinds of issues before. For years, his cars have been reliable. Now, right when the playoffs start and every point matters, his equipment is letting him down. Despite starting from the pole at one of his favorite tracks, Hamlin was never really in contention to win. He had to grind it out for 500 miles, dealing with clutch problems and additional issues with his right rear on pit road. Still, he managed to salvage a 7th-place finish, which kept him second in the playoff standings, 43 points above the cut line. But here's where Hamlin's response gets really interesting. Instead of getting angry or pointing fingers, he's taken what he calls a loose approach to the playoffs. He told his podcast listeners that there's no way he can be consumed with problems he can't control. His exact words were pretty blunt. He said, if the engine blows, and there's nothing he can do about that. This isn't just some feel-good attitude either. Hamlin has learned this lesson the hard way through years of racing at the highest level. At Darlington especially, you need patience and experience to navigate those narrow grooves without making costly mistakes. The track punishes drivers who get too aggressive, and Hamlin knows that getting emotional about mechanical problems would only make things worse. The clutch issues at Darlington were just the beginning, though. Back in May at Kansas Speedway, Hamlin faced an even more embarrassing situation. His clutch problems got so bad that his car literally had to be pushed and pulled out of the pit stall. His crew chief, Chris Gale, was on the radio giving him step-by-step emergency procedures, telling him to put the car in neutral, then drop it into first gear while the crew pushed. If that didn't work, he was supposed to shut off the engine, put it in second gear, and use the starter motor to get moving. The whole mess turned what should have been a normal pit stop into a 17.4-second disaster. Hamlin kept trying to race, but eventually the team had to throw in the towel with 63 laps to go. When he talked to Fox after getting out of the car, Hamlin's frustration was obvious. He said the car was really fast, but they just couldn't keep it together. Then there was the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte, which might have been the most heartbreaking of all. Hamlin was actually fighting for the win, trading the lead back and forth with William Byron 12 different times. He was running strong and looked like he had a real shot at victory. But with 52 laps to go, his pit crew made a mistake that cost him everything. During the pit stop, his fueler's equipment either malfunctioned or wasn't engaged properly. Instead of getting a full load of fuel, Hamlin came up 4 gallons short. That doesn't sound like much, but in NASCAR, 4 gallons might as well be 400. He had to make an extra pit stop with just a few laps left while Byron and Ross Chastain battled for the win. Hamlin ended up finishing 16th. This wasn't even the first time fuel problems had hurt Hamlin this season. At Talladega, he learned about a fuel shortage with just 6 laps to go. The issue there was similar, MMU. His fueler had trouble getting the can properly connected, missing just enough fuel that Hamlin couldn't make it to the end. He finished 21st that day. But the most painful fuel mistake in Hamlin's career happened back in 2021 at Pocono. He was leading the race, took the white flag, and was literally 1 lap away from victory when his tank went dry. He had to pit on the final lap and ended up finishing 14th. You could hear the heartbreak in his voice after that race when he talked about seeing the white flag and then having to head to pit road. What's really interesting is how Hamlin handles these crew mistakes. On his podcast, his co-host asked if he talks to his pit crew after they mess up. Hamlin's answer shows a lot of maturity. He said it's not his job to yell at his crew members, comparing it to a quarterback yelling at the offensive line. He knows they're trying their best and not making mistakes on purpose.
It's another race in recent weeks where the pit crew has messed up massively. Where's your concern level at?
I don't have a huge concern because they're capable, right? And other than that one stop, I threw everything at them. The 22 picked behind us on pit lane, and so then I had to come around him for most of the day, and then I'm trying to maximize, my speed coming in. So then I'm sliding up against the left side wall, and I didn't make their jobs very easy. And they still performed really, really well other than that one stop. But that is the difference. And
Are you going to contend for the win that day or not? And that's just modern day NASCAR.
But you can tell these repeated problems are eating at him. He admitted that it drives him crazy because it happens so often. When talking about the Pocono disaster, he couldn't hide his frustration, saying he's had to pit on the white flag lap while leading. Even with all these problems, Hamlin tries to give his crew credit where it's due. After the Charlotte fuel mistake, he pointed out that the same crew had picked up 7 spots on the first pit stop and 3 or 4 on the next one. They got him from a 20th place start into contention for the win before the fuel issue knocked him out. His crew chief Chris Gale took responsibility for the Charlotte mistake and tried to figure out exactly what went wrong. After studying video and timing everything, Gale determined that the second fuel can barely took any fuel at all. He could see fuel coming out of the bottom, suggesting either a bad connection or equipment failure. He said they would have needed just 2 more seconds to get the 4 gallons they were missing. While Hamlin deals with his own team's struggles, he's been pretty vocal about how other playoff drivers performed at Darlington. He had some harsh words for the Hendrick Motorsports team, saying their results were bad but that fans might be overreacting on social media. He thought Chase Elliott's strategy backfired because of an untimely caution. William Byron just wasn't fast, according to Hamlin. And while Alex Bowman had some issues, Hamlin questioned whether the car was going to be competitive anyway. Hamlin did defend Josh Berry, whose race was basically over on the first lap when his car bottomed out and spun. Hamlin said it's very hard to control a car that bottoms out that badly, and you could actually hear how hard Berry's car hit from the radio. Looking ahead, Hamlin is in a decent position in the playoffs despite all his troubles. Being second in the standings with a 43-point cushion above the cut line gives him some breathing room. But he knows that cushion can disappear quickly if the mechanical problems continue. The next race at Gateway will be crucial for Hamlin and his team. They need to prove they can put together a clean race without the gremlins that have been haunting them. With his relaxed mental approach and years of experience, Hamlin seems ready for the challenge. But NASCAR being NASCAR, you never know what's going to happen next. What's clear is that Hamlin isn't backing down from either fight, the one on the track for his first championship or the one in the boardroom against NASCAR's leadership. He's breaking his silence and shocking everyone with just how deep these problems really go.
Yeah, it's the goal at the beginning of the year is to make the championship 4. To do that, obviously you got to put in some work in the regular season, and you got to perform well in the playoffs. And I think our record in the playoffs speaks for itself. Our average finish drops every year in the playoffs. We run better every year in the final 10 than what we do.
At 44 years old, Denny Hamlin just made statements that sent shockwaves through the NASCAR community this week. The 58th race winner broke his silence on multiple fronts while tensions reached boiling point in federal court. What he revealed about his championship expectations has left fans and competitors stunned. Denny Hamlin stepped forward with bold declarations that have transformed the 2025 NASCAR playoff landscape. The Joe Gibbs Racing driver made his 19th consecutive playoff appearance, more than any active competitor in the Cup Series. His recent statements at NASCAR Cup Media Day revealed a confidence level that has caught the attention of drivers, analysts, and fans across the sport. The 44-year-old driver answered directly when asked about his Championship 4 expectations. "Yeah, it's the goal at the beginning of the year is to make the Championship 4, Hamlin stated. He continued, "I think our record in the playoffs speaks for itself. Our average finish drops every year in the playoffs. We run better every year in the final 10 than we do in the regular season." Hamlin's 2025 season performance backs up his confident statements. He secured 4 victories at Martinsville Speedway, Darlington Raceway, Michigan International Speedway, and Dover Motor Speedway. At Martinsville, he dominated by leading 274 out of 400 laps in what many observers called one of his most complete performances in recent years. The driver's preparation methods have intensified significantly. Reports indicate he has increased his simulator hours and expanded his focus on data analytics. His pit crew performance has reached new levels, with the number 11 team recording an average 4-tire stop time of 9.56 seconds throughout the season. Broadcasting personality and former driver Parker Kligerman made a striking prediction on the Rubbin' Is Racing podcast. Cupside, it's Denny Hamlin's year until it isn't, so it's always Denny Hamlin's year. I got him in the Championship 4, Kligerman declared. The broadcaster's confidence stems from what he described as Hamlin's strongest season form. Kligerman revealed additional insights about Hamlin's current condition. "I've got William Byron. My wildcard entry in Championship 4 is Bubba Wallace. Career year. I love what him and Charles are doing. I just think they can have a strong run in the playoffs. I think I have Blaney in there, he added during the podcast discussion.